Welcome to Shankar's Daily News Analysis. Today's topic of discussion is, in this first article, we will be discussing about the CCI, which is the Competition Commission of India. We will explain and discuss about the structure, function, and what are the roles undertaken by this Competition Commission of India. And in the second article, we will discuss what are the important data which are observed by this recent Lancet study, and what are the major air pollutants which are causing this air pollution, what is the sources and impact of these air pollution, and we will also discuss the government initiatives which are taken to deal with this condition. And thirdly, we will discuss about the biomedical waste regulation, especially in India. What are the rules and legislations available in India to regulate the biomedical waste? And in the final article, we will discuss about the Global Plastic Treaty, which is recently discussed in the Busan, which is located in South Korea. We will also discuss about the provisions which are present in this treaty, what are the key objective of this treaty. We will discuss all about that. So without further delay, let's get into today's discussion. So this is the next news article that we are going to discuss today, and it is taken from the Hindu newspaper. So this article says that the CCI has launched the probe into the Google on real money gaming platform. So the main focus area for the prelims perspective on this article is regarding the Competition Commission of India. Firstly, why do we need a competition? Only if there is a competition, we will be getting a quality of product, and we will be able to get a product at an affordable price. Suppose, let's say there is no competition, the producer might not have the innovation and the motivation to produce a product at a better quality, and they might sell the product at a high price because there is no choice of option. So this competition is enabling to create a competition among the companies and providing the consumer a better choice. So they are offered with many choices if there is a competition. Also, it also prevents the monopoly among the economy. So these are the benefits of having competition within the economy, and this is ensured by the Competition Commission of India. So the Competition Commission of India is the national competition regulator in India. So if there is any commission, what we have to cover from the prelims perspective is, first we have to understand whether it is a statutory body or a constitutional body, and under what, if it is statutory body, we have to understand and learn under what act it is established. We have to learn under what ministry it comes, the structure, the function, and if there is any committee which has recommended this commission. So let's start the discussion. So this Competition Commission of India is a national competition regulator of India, and it is a statutory body which is established under the Competition Act of 2002. So under this Competition Act, this was established in the year 2003, but it became operational only from 2009. So this is the two things, and it is also coming under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and they have only two aims. One is to ensure there is competition in the economy, and two, to prevent and regulate all the anti-competition processes. For example, the companies or individual might indulge themselves in practices which can limit or eliminate the competition in economy. For example, we have the cartel. So let me explain what is cartel. So two or more companies can sign an agreement among themselves to sell a product at a particular fixed price. So this can eliminate the competition within the economy, which is not good. So they might investigate, that is, a Competition Commission of India can investigate into such situation. So another example for anti-competition practices is that few individuals or the companies can sell their products at a very low price. This can also eliminate the competition. So the CCI ensures that no such practices are occurring within the Indian economy, and they will investigate in such conditions. This is the function of CCI. So they will promote there is a competitive environment in the economy by engaging with the stakeholders. This is the aim of the Competition Commission of India. What are the powers and function of this Competition Commission of India? So they derive all their powers from the Competition Act 2002, and the main function is to investigate. So they investigate all the anti-competition practices and ensure there is a proper competition in the Indian economy, and they also have the power to penalize for the individuals who are indulging themselves in the anti-competition practices. They also have the power to issue order to prevent and to regulate the anti-competition practices. Added to that, they also regulate the merger and acquisition of company which can reduce or eliminate the competition within the Indian economy. They also regulate the abuse of dominance. So this is nothing but there might be a certain company, let's say company 1, they might force all the company to sell their products to them because of their dominant price in the marketplace. So this is also regulated by the Competition Commission of India. And nextly, coming to the composition of this Competition Commission of India, it consists of chairperson and members not less than 6 members, and all these are appointed by the central government. So this is the composition of the Competition Commission of India. Talking about the evolution of the Competition Commission of India, so previously we had the Monopoly Restrictive Trade Practices Act of 1969, and this act was repealed and updated based on the recommendation given by the Raghavan committee, and this led to the repeal of monopoly restrictive trade practices and led to the establishment of the Competitive Act of 2002, under which this Competition Commission of India is established. And later this act was amended in the year 2009, and it led to the establishment of this compact, which is nothing but the Company Appellate Tribunal, and they will hear and resolve all the appeals which are given by the Competition and Commission of India. So it is a judicial body which will hear all the appeals from Competition Commission of India. And we also had a Appellate Reform Commission, that is the Appellate Mechanism Reform. So under this, in the year 2017, the compact, which is the Competition Appellate Tribunal, was replaced with the NCLAT, which is the National Company Law Appellate Tribunal, and this is also a judicial body which hears and resolves all the appeals which are put forth by the Competition and Commission of India, and it ensures there is a speedy trial of the process. So these are the things which you have to understand with respect to the Competition Commission of India. Firstly, we saw the statutory body and the act, which is the Competition Commission Act. We also saw the powers and function, and lastly we saw what is the evolution of this process. Now with this knowledge, let's see a prelims practice question. Consider the following statement regarding the Competition Commission of India. It was established in 2003, yes, this is correct, under the Competition Act of 2002, and it comes under the Ministry of Finance. No, it does not comes under the Ministry of Finance, it comes under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So this statement is incorrect, and it aims to promote a competitive environment in the Indian market. Yes, this is the primary objective of this Competition Commission of India. So this statement is correct. And lastly, we have the Competition Act 2002 replaced the Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act. So this statement is also correct. This was done based on the recommendation of the Raghavan committee. So this is also correct. So the correct answer will be 2 and 3. With this, we will conclude the discussion on this article, and now let's move on to the next one. So take a look at this article. This article talks about the observation made by the Lancet study regarding the deaths because of the air pollution, and the air pollution mainly which is caused by the landscape fires. Actually, landscape fires includes many types of fires. That is, it includes the agriculture fires, that is the stubble burning, the wildfires and the forest fires. And this study has said that this landscape fires has caused almost 1.2 lakh deaths every year in India. So this is the major cause for the deaths in India. That is almost 1.2 lakh dead because of the landscape fires in India. And if we take the 20 years, that is from 2000 to 2019, in this span of years, almost 25.54 lakh have dead either because of the cardiovascular diseases or respiratory diseases, which are mainly caused by this air pollution. And if we take the global level, almost 1.53 million have died every year because of the landscape fires. And the major contributors are first China, and second we have the Democratic Republic of Congo, and third India, fourth Indonesia, and fifth Nigeria. So this is the important data which are given by this study. So now let's see what are the important contributors of this air pollution, that is the air pollutants. What is the source of this air pollutant and what is the impact it is creating in the environment. First, we have the particulate matter, which is having a size of about 10 micrometer and 2.5 micrometer. So, the major source of this particulate matter is the vehicular emission and the wildfires, and they have the impact to create the respiratory diseases and cardiovascular diseases. And secondly, we have the sulfur dioxide, which is mostly contributed by the burning of coal, and it has the ability to cause the acid rain and damage to the crops. Secondly, we have the nitrogen oxides. So this include the NO2 and NO3, and it is mainly contributed by the exhaust from vehicle. That is why we are approaching towards the electric vehicle, which will not release these kind of pollutants. And the another major producer of this nitrous oxide is the power plants, and it has the capacity to cause the smog, which is causing the air pollution, and added to that it has the capacity to cause the acid rain in the environment. Secondly, we have the carbon monoxide. It is mainly released because of the incomplete combustion of the fossil fuel, and it has the capacity to reduce the oxygen in blood. Let's see how. So this carbon monoxide will combine with the hemoglobin. Actually, hemoglobin carries the oxygen in the blood, and this carbon monoxide will attach to this hemoglobin and form the carboxyhemoglobin, and it will deter the oxygen carrying capacity of this hemoglobin, and this is the reason why it causes the reduction of oxygen in blood. And nextly, we have the ozone. So this is a secondary pollutant. Actually, we have two types of ozone. Here we are going to talk about the bad ozone, which is actually which is produced by the reaction of volatile organic compounds, or this kind of nitrogen oxides, that is NO2 or NO3, with sunlight. When it is reacting with the sunlight, it leads to the production of this ozone, and this ozone has the capacity to irritate the lungs and also damage the crops. So previously we talked about the volatile organic compound, and this volatile organic compound is mainly released from the vehicular emission, paints and solvent, and it also has the capacity to form the smog, which can cause the air pollution. So we know fertilizers are usually ammonia, and this ammonia is released from the fertilizer, and it has the capacity to form fine particles and cause the pollution in water. And the black carbon is produced from the burning of biomass, which can cause the global warming and respiratory issues. Nextly, we have the methane. So this methane is an important greenhouse gas, and it has a power which is 25 times greater than the power of carbon dioxide, and it has the capacity to form the global warming. And lastly, we have the persistent organic pollutant, which is released from the biopesticides, and it can cause cancer in the living organism by the process of bioaccumulation. So till now we saw what is the source of all the major pollutants and what are the impacts which are created by these pollutants. Now we will see what are the initiatives which are taken by the government to deal with this. First, we have the NAMP, which is the National Air Quality Monitoring Program, and under that we have the AQI, which is the Air Quality Index. So they will monitor the air pollutants in India, and they will give the air quality which is present throughout the India. So what are the pollutants which are monitored under the air quality index? So we have 7. First is the NO2, second we have the SO2, next we have the carbon monoxide, and then we have particulate matter 10, particulate matter 2.5, and sixth we have the ammonia, and lastly we have the ozone. So here you can note that there is no carbon dioxide. So this is an important point. And next we have the NCAP, which is the National Clean Air Program. So they have set a objective or a goal to reduce this and particulate matter 10 by about 10 to 30% by the year 2024. This is the goal of this National Clean Air Program. And we also have the Graded Response Action Plan, which is the emergency measure particularly taken in the region of Delhi and the National Capital Region, where there is more air pollution, particularly in the winter season. Nextly, we also have the National Electric Mobility Mission Plan, which promotes the usage of electric vehicle by replacing the vehicles which are using the fossil fuels. And we are also moving towards the Bharat Stage 6 engines to adopt to a cleaner vehicular emission from the vehicles which are a major source of air pollutions. So in this article discussion, we saw the important data which is published by the recent Lancet study. We also saw what are the major pollutants, the source and the impacts, and lastly we saw few government initiatives which are taken to monitor this air pollution. So let's take a prelims question. Consider the following pairs of pollutants and their impact. Sulfur dioxide, which can cause the acid rain and respiratory issues. This statement is correct. And secondly, we have the carbon monoxide, which reduces the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. This statement is also correct. And thirdly, we have the methane, which contributes to the smog and crop damage. So this is incorrect because methane is a greenhouse gas which can cause global warming. So this statement would be incorrect. And lastly, we have the lead, which causes development issue in the children. This is also correct. So the correct option would be B, 1, 2 and 4. With this, let's conclude the discussion on this article, and now let's move on to next one. So this article, Stigma of HIV and Birth of Biomedical Waste Regulations. So we have two main focus areas under this article. First, we will see about a quick glimpse about the HIV, and secondly, we will discuss about how biomedical waste is regulated and managed in India. So firstly, HIV is a human immunovirus, and this virus causes a syndrome called as the acute immunodeficiency syndrome. So this is, and it weakens the immunity system of an individual once it affects it. Almost 38 million are living with HIV AIDS according to the information of WHO, and the UN AIDS has also set up a goal, that is to eliminate the persons with AIDS by the year 2030. This is a goal set up by them. And talking about the mode of transmission of this HIV, it is usually contacted or transmitted with the help of sexual interaction between the individuals. It is also spread through the blood transfusion, that is, if a person with AIDS is sharing a needle or syringe with another person, it can lead to the transmission of the HIV virus. It can also be transferred between the mother to fetus during the, it can be transmitted from the mother to child during the pregnancy and delivery. These are the basic or general ways through which that HIV is transmitted between the individuals, and these are the goals fixed by the UN AIDS. Now talking about the biomedical waste, so these are waste that are generated from the diagnosis, treatment and immunization or any research activities which are related to the healthcare. All the waste which are generated during these activities are called as the biomedical waste, and they can be classified into variety of types. For example, we have the infectious bio waste. This includes all the infectious items from the body, that is the body fluids, the blood, the tissue, all these comes under the infectious bio waste. Secondly, we have the sharps, and these sharps include all the sharp objects which are used in the medicines. For example, we have the needles, the carpels, the blades, all these comes under the sharps. Thirdly, we have a contaminated. So this includes all the contaminated materials such as the bandages, the gloves which are used by the nurses and the doctors. These comes under the contaminated. Coming to the chemical waste, these include the chemical reagents or any medicine which is expired from the date. These comes under the medical bio waste. So the radioactive waste includes the waste or the material which are exposed to radioactive substances during the process of the X-ray or any medical examination. These are called as the radioactive waste, and we require a proper management as they are infectious in nature and it can lead to the spread of diseases between the community. So a proper regulation is required, and in India we have a regulation or a rules called as the biomedical waste management rules. So with respect to prelims, we have to focus on any legislations or rules, and we will have a quick look of only the key provisions which are there in this rules. So let's begin. And this rules came in the year 2016 and it was amended thrice, 2018, 19 and 22. It is applicable to all the hospital facilities, clinics, veterinary science, the labs or any labs which are present in the college. All these are applicable under this particular rules, and they are responsible to maintain all the provisions which are enlisted in this rules. So at the end of each financial year, these owner of the hospital facility will submit their report to the State Pollution Control Board at the end of each financial year. Talking about the treatment and disposal, we have a provision to set up a common biomedical waste treatment facility. So what is the purpose of this facility? So some institutions might not have the provision to treat the biomedical waste and release them. So this particular facility will have an in-house incinerator or autoclave. So incinerator and autoclave will treat the biomedical waste and remove all the infectious product and dump them in the waste. This is called as the common biomedical waste treatment facility, and they will collect all the biomedical waste and they will properly treat them using the autoclave and then dispose it according to the rules mentioned in this particular rules. They will also treat the liquid waste and dispose them. Secondly, we have another feature called as the barcode and GPS tracking system. So this is also a special feature because it was added in the amendment 2018, and the feature was added to provide a real-time tracking so that from the production stage to the usage state and after the disposal, it can be tracked on how the movement is there and who are using it. So it is providing a real-time tracking and helps in ensuring a transparency and accountability for managing the bio waste. These are the things you have to understand regarding this particular feature. And another interesting feature under this rules is the segregation of bio waste. Similar to the waste we segregate in real life, we also have a segregation process to classify them into 4 types. So under yellow, all the infectious waste, that is the body fluids, all are disposed under these yellow segregation. Under red, all the infectious and contaminated but they are eligible to recyclable are coming under this red category, and under this blue category we are going to include all the glassware, that is broken glassware and everything. And in the last category, white, it includes all the sharp objects such as the needle, carpel, blade, all these are coming under this white category. So these are the 4 categories of the biomedical waste, and if you are not following any of the rules, you are also subjected to face some challenges. So these are, firstly, in the first level, they are imposed with fines if they are not properly segregating the waste according to the rules or not properly disposing, all they are eligible to pay a fine under these rules. And in serious cases, they are also imprisoned for about 5 years, and in severe violation, they are also cancelled their license. So these are the penalties which are imposed under this particular act for the non-compliance. So this punishment is given under the Environmental Protection Act. So under the rules, so we also have other acts such as the Environmental Protection Act and Water Act and the Air Act. So these act ensures that the biomedical waste are not polluting the environment, particularly the water under the Water Act, and air under the Air Act. So if you are incinerating, there might be release of hazardous gases. This might pollute the air. So this is what monitored by the Air Act. So in this article discussion, we saw what are biomedical waste and the biomedical waste rules and the key provisions of it. So with this knowledge, let's see a prelims practice question. Under which ministry does biomedical waste management rules 2016 fall? So the answer is B. So if you are reading any rules or legislation or any scheme, make sure you read the ministry as well. With this, we'll conclude the discussion on this article, and now let's move on to next one. So this article, which is taken from Indian Express, detailedly discusses about the Global Plastic Treaty and what is the stance of India in this treaty. What we have to focus from the prelims perspective is that what are the aim and the key objective of this particular treaty. And in the prelims perspective, usually if there is any treaty, they will ask it is coming under what body. If there is an international or national body, we will also see what is the stance of India in this particular treaty to understand the perspective. So let's start. So recently in Busan, which is located in the South Africa, an intergovernmental negotiation committee meeting happened in the North Korea, and in this negotiation almost 175 countries participated. So they discussed about the Global Plastic Treaty. So if there is any city which is mentioned in the news article, particularly with respect to any treaty or any agreement which is signed, you can have a quick look of the map. So here this city Busan is located in South Korea. So what are the water bodies which are surrounding South Korea? So here we have the LOC, and here we have the Sea of Japan, and here we have the Japan. So between Korea and Japan, we have a strait called as the Korea Strait. And talking about this Global Plastic Treaty, it is a legally binding international agreement. So here you have to note the point, it is binding in nature, and it is the main objective is to combat the plastic pollution, and this includes also the marine pollution also. So this plastic treaty is negotiated under a program called as the United Nations Environment Program. So they have various objectives. So they will assist the developing countries in developing a policy or a act to regulate all the environmental problems in their nation. They also help in assessing the global trends and giving a recommendation of it. Along with it, they publish a report called as the geographical. Along with it, they also publish a report called as the Global Environmental Outlook. So it consists of all the environmental problem and what are the recommendation to deal with this. This is the function of the UNEP, and they have negotiated this treaty called as the Global Plastic Treaty. So the significant milestone under this treaty is that, and in the United Nations Environmental Assembly in 2022, they adopted a resolution to frame this treaty by the year 2024, and currently there is a meeting at Busan that we discussed already. So India's stance in this particular treaty is that it has to be aligned with the 1992 Rio Declaration, which focuses on the sustainable development, and it also opposes any overlap with the previous treaty, such as we have a convention called as the Basel Convention. This convention says that there should be a reduction in the movement of hazardous substances between the countries, and they are particularly stressing about the movement of hazardous waste from the developed countries to developing countries. This convention says that there has to be a proper consent from the developing countries to move their hazardous waste. This convention was adopted in the Basel of Switzerland. That is why it is called as the Basel Convention. So India is also advocating for a financial and technical assistance for the developing nations, and they are advocating for a sustainable production and design method of the plastic. This is the stance of India regarding this particular treaty, and the focus area of this treaty is to reduce the plastic production and to improve the management of plastic waste and to promote the sustainable product design. So recently in 2016, India banned all these single-use plastic, and we have two important principles called as the CBDR, common but differentiated responsibility. So every country has the responsibility to prevent the environmental degradation and to reduce the environmental emissions. But certain countries have a higher responsibility because of their historical emission and historical environmental damage that they have created till now. This is called as the CBDR, and India is advocating for a CBDR under this also. And a sustainable consumption and production has to be ensured between all the countries. These are the two principles which are advocated under this particular global plastic treaty. So what are the policies available in India to regulate and manage the plastic waste? We have the plastic waste management rules, and they banned all the single use plastic, and we have a concept called as extended producer responsibility. Extended producer responsibility. What is this? It is nothing but the producer or the exporter has the full responsibility for the whole life cycle of the product, starting from the production and after the disposal, from the collection of the waste to recycle it again. All the responsibility is totally with the producer. This is called as the extended producer responsibility. And we also have the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan to reduce the plastic pollution and to reduce the marine pollution. And all these policies along with the global plastic ban will help us to achieve the sustainable development goal, particularly the sustainable development goal, which is the responsible production and consumption, and sustainable development goal 14, which advocates for the life below water, because we are advocating for the reduction of marine pollution. So I hope you had a clear picture of the plastic global plastic treaty. Let's see a prelims question. Which of the following are the key functions of the UNEP? So the first, assisting nations in developing the environmental policies. Yes, this is correct. And they also publish a report called as the Global Environmental Outlook. So if there is any report, you have to definitely study by whom this is published, because it is a possible question in the prelims. And thirdly, they implement all the legally binding climate treaties under the direct authority. No, they have a say in the assistance and publishing the report, but they do not have a power to implement all these functions. So this is incorrect. And they conduct assessment on the global environmental trends. Yes, this statement is correct. So the correct option would be B, 1, 2 and 4. We have come to end of today's video. If you found the video informative, do hit like, give your feedbacks as comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Have a nice day.